Gym Horror, Part 2. Last time we spoke, I was hiding in a hide-and-seek game underneath the mats. I had thought my spot was really good, and after all the noise of the moving mats had died down from everyone else hiding, I heard a faint noise. This time, it was in my ear. The voice had said my name. It sounded like a hissing snake in my ear. Although the seekers were still counting, I felt that I couldn't be loud. Even the voice had sounded so close to me. I thought it was Emma calling out for me from the right edge of the floor, just 15 feet away. I whispered back, "What?" at the lowest volume I could, so I thought she could hear me again. I only whispered once, and there was no response. I never could call out again, because at that exact moment, the seekers emerged from the lobby into the awaiting darkness. I watched throughout the people as the seekers had taken over the floor. They went straight to the trampoline area, talking a little bit, but still scared. After all, it was dark, and we never had the best feeling about this gym at night. Tonight, particularly, I had a worse feeling than any other time we'd ever slept over. I watched the seekers' figures move from the trampoline area to the vaults, then slowly walking down the runway. My spying was interrupted by a figure in the corner of my vision. There was at least one human-like shape slowly making its way across the floor toward the vault runways where Gabby, Maya, and Abby were still sneaking along. I was a little mad that Emma was planning to scare the coaches without me, but insistent to remain hidden, I didn't come out. I hid my face for 1 second, and as I ducked back into my secret place, I heard a sound again. That sound that still sends chills down my spine. It sounded like a herd of animals crawling down the runway at a sprint. The girls had made a plot to scare the coaches without me. I looked out as soon as I heard the noise, and had to cover myself up immediately. Then I looked back out. What I saw there still haunts me to this day. It wasn't my teammates out there at all. It was nothing. There was no one there. The sound kept reverberating throughout the gym, but all I saw when I looked out was the gym as it was, except the runway had a slightly blacker sheen. Maybe it was the figures. I hadn't looked long enough to tell. As soon as I was back under the mat, I heard a thud and a set of screams, followed by some sobs of terror. The stampede stopped. The only thing I had left to cling to was my hope of not being found, so I remained in my spot as the coaches and Abby lay at the end of the runway in pure disbelief and terror. They had turned on a flashlight, but no one had left their hiding spot. The gym was as it had been. No mats moved or shadowy figures, just a gym. After a minute of me hyperventilating under the mat, I decided it was time to see if what I'd swore I saw was real. Gabby, Maya, and Abby were in the same exact place they'd been before, still in a heap on the runway, sobbing. Everyone else had come over. "Guys, come on. I thought we had a no scaring rule during hide and seek. You remember what happened last time," I said, still doubting what I had seen with my eyes. Through all that happening, I was still skeptical. Maybe my eyes had been playing tricks on me, and there had been girls on the runway before. No one did that. I was under a mat by the bars the whole time. Brooke's response really made it seem real. I was beside the trampoline in the dark corner, and I swear to God, your mother, anything you want, that I didn't move. Elena added it with a tremor. Sydney, who was too scared to talk, just shook her head. Sid and I were behind the parallel bars. We thought it was you and Emma. That's something you would do, Charlie said. I'd forgotten about Emma being near me. No, it wasn't us. You watched me come out from under the beams. I saw Emma crawl across the floor and I thought it was her. Emma seemed a little angry when I said that. No, I was there, in those mats, the entire time. I swear, I crossed my heart. I never moved or even spoke. That struck a chord for me. Wait, if you never said anything, then who whispered for me? When I asked this, I knew it wasn't anyone else. They were all well over 50 feet from my spot, other than Emma. It couldn't be explained. No one whispered to you. What I don't get is why you kept shouting. You realize you're supposed to hide, right? Brooke said. I had no recollection of shouting anything, just whispering what in the smallest voice I could muster. Even though I swore all I'd done was whisper once, all the others confirmed they heard me shout repeatedly 3 times. None of this had made sense, and the night was still young. Let me stop you there for a minute. Now, I know I still sound crazy. You'll see, even me, the girl who had always thought everything was concrete and scientific, couldn't possibly find an explanation. Now back to our story. We all sat there for another hour, just feeling each other's presence. No one spoke, but we were comforted by the shared warmth. We thought it hit us before, but after the reflection, reality was really starting to set in. We all went over in exact detail what we'd been doing at the time of the event. I started. I was over in the far corner under the beam in the mat, doing nothing. I had a peephole, but I wasn't looking out. Naturally, we were suspicious of Charlie and Sid, since they were the closest, hiding just a few feet from the runway. Charlie claimed they'd stayed hidden behind 2 exercise balls under the parallel bar set. No one was in any state to lie at this point, so we believed them. Brooke was trapped between one large, fluffy mat and another. I couldn't see anything. Then Gabby and Maya collapsed in a view. Then Abby on top. They were screaming. I couldn't have made it down the runway and back into this spot in time. It took them time to turn on the light. Her point being quite valid, it was accepted easily. All that was left was Elena, and she hadn't moved and was far enough away for it to be nearly impossible for her to be the culprit. That noise, the stampede of hands and feet crawling across dense carpeted foam, I can't get it out of my head. No human, not even all 6 of us girls hiding, could have made that sound. It was a sound like no other, familiar, but so otherworldly, unique, chilling, terrifying. This event is a natural conclusion, right? Wrong. There's more. The night is still young. There's so much more I can't fit it. I'll spare you the details of us playing volleyball on the floor for an hour, but be prepared. As I said, the night was young. After our volleyball tournament, Emma and Sydney collapsed with exhaustion on the trampoline. We took a bathroom break, together, for the safety. Abby stayed behind. What time is it? Charlie asked. My mom would kill me if it were after midnight. It's 3:33, I said. 3:33, the devil's hour. Of course it had to be 3:33. I'll never forget that time. That was the first time we heard a pounding on the door, followed by a shrill screech. Guys, you need to come out here. They're back. They're back. Abby screamed at us through the locked door. We were in a frenzy, and all of us sprinted out the bathroom like a pack of dogs were chasing us. When we emerged into the gym, we were haunted by the sight before us. She was right. They were back, but they were impossibly different. But, Gabby, you cleaned them off. It was spotless. They were gone. Charlie stuttered in disbelief. She was saying what all of us were thinking. They had gone, but returned. This time, in a new blood-curdling pattern. The handprints. Those damn handprints. Creeping across the mirrors, twisting, clawing, scratching my insides along with the reflective finish of the mirrors. It was like no feeling ever before. I was afraid for my life, but it was a fear of something there was no proof even existed. No one could believe what they were seeing. It was pure terror. There was something about the prints. They weren't just handprints. They were claws, scraping the mirrors. They were twisted upside down and backwards at no angle humanly possible. They struck fear in our hearts. It was Gabby who broke the silence. I know this is crazy, but you have eyes. You saw, and I know you for sure felt the same things we're all feeling. This is real. We need to accept what we're all seeing. We weren't crazy. All this trying to crack it up to coincidence, seeing things, or simply someone's pranks, and now I really knew it. These things were really unexplainable by nature and humanity. Me, the skeptic, believing something supernatural. The night had really changed me. But the night was still young. After cleaning the mirrors again, so we weren't living in the shadow of the prints, we huddled in fluffy blankets and talked. We played cards until 5, and then finally got some sleep. It took a while to actually sleep. We would hear a tiny creak or a pipe go off, and it would nearly send us over the edge. Everything is scarier in the night. It takes away our sense of sanity and sight. This night would continue even weeks, months, years after it occurred. But finally, we slept, still as the dead, until the morning sun seeped in those same dusty garage door windows. Saturday morning practice the next day was uneventful, so I decided to hack Emma's phone. Charlie and I posed for way too many selfies. I scrolled through to find one to send to myself and dropped her phone onto the concrete below. It had followed us into the light. The terrors of last night came back to me. Emma, seeing her phone on the concrete, rushed over and picked it up. She began to retch, also horrified at the sight of the screen. On her phone had been a photograph of her, asleep on the trampoline. I thought it was Sydney, until I noticed her sleeping body in the back corner of the image. We'd been on the floor all night. Not one of us had been over to that trampoline. But the worst thing about this, the absolute worst image that I can never get out of my head, was the screen. The image of Emma sleeping and Sydney close by with the timestamp, November 11th, 2017, 3:33 a.m.